Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Speaker, what would you like to see? Sports or International Chemistry Olympiad? We would like to see the sincere challenging to humankind's limitation. And you'll see how it ruins the sports world in my main argument 3, which explains how it will ruin sports. And before I introduce our last main argument, I would like to refute all the assertions of the government team. The Deputy Prime Minister firstly said to our first main argument that the athletes are already polluted. There's air pollution and their bodies already polluted. But first I want to ask them, is it morally right to exacerbate the body's pollution? What we're supposed to do is to enhance them and make them very healthy. Make them have a healthy body to compete in the sports world, not polluting their body more. And secondly, pollution and steroids is much different because pollution is about environmental thing, not an optional thing. But steroids and other enhancing drugs are about optional thing. So we believe that there's no need to risk them. And secondly, we can't justify taking drugs just they are polluted. And their refutation to our second main argument was that the Jamaica, they're genetically good, so even if they're poor, they win the Olympic Games. But a genetical thing is about inherent thing, not an optional thing like steroids and other enhancing drugs. The Olympic is something that is where people have to compete in their inherent and their own ability, even if they are genetically good or bad. That's about something something about Olympic spirit. And secondly, even if they're genetically good, that's about inherent thing, and people should make effort to do that. What is Olympic spirit? We have to compete and challenge the humankind's limitation by its own ability, not in medical or other shortcuts to do that. That's not an Olympic nor a sport. No, thank you, sir. And their third main argument was that it is efficient to take drugs. It is very good to take drugs even if it's not very constantly put. But firstly, the athletes will and has to take drugs constantly because it's called butterfly effect, that everyone will take drugs as it's allowed. And as everyone takes drugs, and then other people has to take drugs, right? This will be explained more in our third main argument. And secondly, I want to say that previously the government team has said that during the training term they already take drugs in their training time. That we can see that they're contradicting their point by saying they're taking drugs constantly during their practicing time, and now if it's not constantly put, it is efficient to take drugs. This is contrary. And I want to refute the core point of the proposition first and secondly. The first main argument was that is it morally we have to allow that the people who are clean have to take it and compete with the others. But as I just said, there will be butterfly effect, and secondly, there is a question: is the clean people will take the drugs even if the steroids are allowed? I think it is a very severe question, and I ask them give an evidence to this question. And I want to ask them another thing: is it morally right to risk their health, and is it morally right to have an unfair competition? And is it morally right to ruin the sports world? And let's move on to our third main argument, which is about it ruins sports. The first point is that it's not an Olympic spirit. The essential Olympic spirit is to compete on individuals' own ability and challenge the humankind's summit by their own ability, by effort. But what's happening now is how they afford to buy the drugs. And it causes very severe problem that people have to inevitably take these drugs. There will be no Olympic, but there will be international chemistry drug a chemistry drug Olympiad like that. Who takes drug better? And as it's proven very effective to take steroids and other enhancing drugs, there's no reason to avoid it. And there will be butterfly effect. People have to take drugs just to compete with the others. And this leads to many severe problems. Is that firstly, it can eliminate the sincere competition on the Olympic Games. Secondly, only rich can afford these drugs. And thirdly, there will be all sports rolled in the ruin. There will be all drug addicts in the Olympic Games. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to see sports. Thank you.